Yes, Mzansi, welcome back. We promised you extremeness, parkour. Not that extreme, but we are talking about something special right now. And we absolutely love extreme sports. But do our video games inspire the same sense of awe and capture the same level of intensity? Well, let us find out, because Gron Hines is here. He's joining us to talk us through the most memorable extreme sport games. Brother, I'm excited about this.
I know,
one.
you're like going through this list.
I'm just hoping, I'm hoping
out.
like some of the good ones are there, man. Like, I see a little list here. One thing that stands out for me, I've got to talk about it, Tony Hawk.
Okay, we can't talk about extreme sports and not talk about Tony Hawk.
Come on, man. You played the game, obviously, right?
All of them.
It consumed so much of my childhood.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 is arguably the best.
Yeah,
Tony Hawk,
good.
the best soundtrack
Yeah,
ever.
man.
Styles of Beyond.
I wouldn't even have any objective. I would just put the game on, skate around, try rail around the whole like bloody map, and it was
even
so
the demo
cool.
was cool because it was that level in France, and you could
Yeah.
But what was special about Tony Hawk, and like kids today will not understand this because of you know, but we will. You know, you'd go home and you play and you get like this massive high score. We didn't have like cameras to take photographs of our high score, whatever. You'd write it down and you'd freak out, and then you'd go to school and be like, "Yo, my cousin." You know, somebody would come to school like Fahid, my cousin, he got like 8-9 million on Marseille, and you're like, what? And then you go home and go like, okay, on the school level over here, I'm gonna do this. Yeah. So I used to really love Tony Hawk for that reason. But yeah, and I'm glad they're kind of remaking these. So this is the new remaster. That's the old one. Look how it looks, and then they made the remaster.
Is there a new version of this game?
We had it on the show. We had
What? Where was
I? I don't know.
Okay. Clearly, I need to get that game. What's next on the list, man?
The next one we haven't seen a lot, but Kelly's Pro Surfer.
Yes.
Kelly Slater.
Kelly Slater, the world champ.
So
you are the man that's never aging, clearly.
Yeah, and it was so upsetting because there only was like one of these, and like you know, there always be like one or two people at school that played it, but it was one of the only surfing games. There was obviously Cull Games, which was the old game from the 1980s, but after the hit of Tony Hawk, being able to see like surfing and do like an extreme arcade version of surfing was a huge gap in the market. And we had Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer, but I don't think it had the same like appeal. You know what? And I tell you what I think it is. I got into skateboarding because of Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of us did, I think.
A lot of us did. And I think surfing is way less accessible than skateboarding is. Because
especially that game. I mean, do you see the waste these guys are riding? It's like, how do I even do that?
You don't get that in Musenberg?
Yeah.
Most people don't live near the ocean.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
true.
So like to get into surfing, and I think the cultural zeitgeist of the skateboarding kind of picked up because people were skateboarding at home in their small towns.
This is what I want to talk about. The culture was rife at the time. I mean, it was a new era of sport kind of coming through and getting popularized by media. And with that came kids being inspired by it. And I think especially something like Tony Hawk's, with the figures they had in skating at the time, that's, I think, what inspired kids. For surfing, it was still kind of coming up. If you were in the culture, you knew about it.
Exactly.
But if you were also in the culture and knew about the game, you were out in the ocean, though.
only my friends who surfed played Kelly Slater.
Yeah. No,
and
so
I think there's a lot to be said. We can have a whole podcast about this. But let's move on to Dave Mirra's freestyle
Firstly,
BMX.
I always thought it was Dave Myra all these years. Okay, thank you for schooling me.
So Dave Mirra's freestyle BMX was. I also actually thought it was Dave Myra for many years.
Making me feel
until I started getting watching YouTube videos of who Dave Mirra was, you know, and obviously like the impact that he had on the industry. Being able to play a game, another extreme sports game with the same genetic material as Tony Hawk, because it was very similar in the way it played, was really cool. Having these like levels that you turn around and doing tricks with, very extreme and very unrealistic, but loads and loads of fun. I didn't know you could grind on a bike.
Yeah, with pigs.
With
pigs.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. And you could sit on the back of your bike with pigs.
Dude, I was so into this. Again, this was something that inspired me. I got a BMX after this. I got a BMX without spokes. I got mags on it. I took out my brakes so that the handlebar could spin around because there was no gyro, and then fishbone handlebars, man. That was
Did you go to like Boogaloo skate park?
Yeah, dude, I was that guy. I was like, come with all the gear, no idea. I'm like, come on, let's do this. But these are the games that inspired me to do this. Otherwise, I would have no idea.
You know, if you aren't exposed to some extreme sports, you never know what your options are. And one of the things, and I think that's what's great about social media right now and extreme sports, is that you can learn these tricks quite quickly.
Yeah.
And like we would watch these games and be like, a kickflip. What's a kickflip?
Yeah.
And then you watch those little videos they had in the game and be like, wait, that's how he does it, you know?
Then you go practice and break your ankles outside.
One game that we couldn't do that with was SSX Tricky.
Oh.
Because it was a snowboarding game.
But that game was crazy. Come
It was
on.
just, it
This
was
is wild.
absolutely wild. And also like that also had a cult following of just like extreme like moves and like obviously unrealistic. I always wanted to go snowboarding. I've never had the opportunity to. And it was because of games like SSX Tricky and Cool Borders. I used to play a lot of Cool Borders too, but I think SSX Tricky was arguably like a better game.
You hit the nail on the head there, and excuse the pun, but like the cool factor is definitely what it was about. They looked so cool in their gear. I mean, we never wore puffy pants like that when we were out, because we're from summer, we're from South Africa, right? On top of that, making the game look so interactive.
I'm old, man. We used to wear like Jack Black and
Joe Soap, yes! With the chain and the wallet, yeah! I got you, man, I got you.
People are watching this have no idea what we're talking about.
I remember that. I remember the long shorts all the way down, but I think these are the things that inspired fashion for us. It inspired a culture, it inspired us to literally go out there and do the things. And these are games, man, I can't believe it, but nostalgia's real, to the effect that it got us actioning everything that we wanted.
Yeah,
I love it, man.
It was fun.
Grant Hines, thank you so much, man. I can't be more excited about this. A little trip down memory lane. Mzansi, I don't know if you enjoyed that as well, but let us know maybe on social media, what was one of your favorite extreme games and maybe your favorite extreme sport because of it? What do you want to do? I don't know, but I've woke up appetite. I've gotten excited. I think we need to head to the kitchen and fill these bellies. Oh, I love that, man. Thank you.